Greetings, language enthusiasts and learners. Welcome to a journey that will enhance your English language skills and bring depth to your communication. Today, we're diving into the world of clauses and phrases, a realm where words transform into intricate structures and sentences evolve into powerful expressions. Whether you're striving to communicate more effectively, write with flair, or simply explore the beauty of language, understanding clauses and phrases is your gateway to unlocking a new level of linguistic finesse. So, with that being said, what is a clause? So, when we communicate, whether in writing or speech, words form intricate structures that convey meanings. And clauses and phrases are the fundamental building blocks of these structures. Now, clauses can be seen as independent or dependent. And in the realm of grammar, understanding the role of these is significant to wielding the tools of expression. So, a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate and is used as part of a sentence. An independent clause expresses a complete thought. For example, he tore the page in half. Thus, an independent clause could stand alone exactly like a sentence. On the other hand, whenever he heard it is a dependent clause because it cannot stand alone and it doesn't represent a complete thought. And a phrase, on the other hand, is a group of two or more connected words which does not contain a subject and predicate. For example, the girl, or terrible weather, or the enemy having lost. So get ready to embark on a captivating adventure that will not only improve your English, but also enrich your ability to convey ideas, thoughts, and emotions. Question number 1. So we've been given clauses and phrases, such as the one in the center, multicolored plastic flowers. It is your duty to go ahead and decide if this text contains an independent clause, if it contains a dependent clause, or if it doesn't contain one at all. So as you can see, we've been given a phrase here, which is multicolored plastic flowers. Remember, these are groups of related words that lack a subject and a predicate. So they serve as building blocks. And you can see here that the correct answer is that the text contains neither a dependent clause nor an independent clause. And so this is a phrase. Over to the next question. Wherever he looked. So let's think about this. Does the text contain or express a complete thought? Well, you should now have started to realize that dependent clauses often start with words such as although, because, since, though, as, and if. It is these words that prevent the dependent clause from expressing a complete thought. So with that being said, we know that the text only contains a dependent clause. Marvelous. Let's dive into the next question. He was a famous engineer. So again, you could see that this text expresses a complete thought. We have our subject, and thus an independent clause could stand alone exactly like a sentence. So this only contains an independent clause. Don't forget that clauses in their simplest form are groups of words that contain both a subject and a predicate. Okay, let's move over to the next sentence. While waiting for him to return. So you could see, is this independent? Does it express a complete thought? Now remember, in order to express a complete thought, the sentence must have a subject and predicate. And because it doesn't, it is a dependent clause. So with that being said, it's going to be the black hexagon. And you must be thinking, I keep mentioning a subject and a predicate, but what is it? So The difference is that the subject sets the stage by telling us who or what the sentence is about, while the predicate steps in to reveal what the subject is doing or experiencing. So together, they form the essential foundation of every sentence. So let's go ahead and dive into the next question. I knew how to do it. So have you thought about what it could potentially be? So again, as you can see here, that the text expresses a complete thought. So it only contains an independent clause. So I knew how to do it, which means it can stand alone exactly like a sentence. Over to the next one. He was very clever. Once again, does it stand alone as a sentence? Well, it certainly does. So the text only contains an independent clause. And remember, the comma shows that something else precedes the independent clause, and it could be a dependent clause. Okay, moving over to the next question. He knew where the key was since he had seen her hide it. So what is this telling us? Have we got a complete thought? Well, we certainly do. And remember here, the independent clause would be that he knew where the key was. So that's the first section. That's your independent clause. We then have our dependent clause, since he had seen her hide it. So with that being said, we now know that the text contains both a dependent clause and an independent clause. And there we are. Now don't forget to pause the video at any stage, attempt the question, and then press play to see the solution. At this stage, you should be able to differentiate between a clause and a phrase, but also the words that contain both a subject and a predicate. Don't forget, the subject sets the stage by telling us who or what the sentence is about, while the predicate steps in to reveal what the subject is doing or experiencing. Although he was tired, he carried on swimming. So again, we've got a comma here. And remember, note that the use of a comma occurs when the sentence starts with a dependent clause. So we've got our independent clause, which is he carried on swimming. And so we have our dependent clause, which is although he was tired. So for this reason, the text contains both a dependent clause and an independent clause. And there we are. And over to the next question. Fresh, crispy carrots. So again, what would this be? A clause or a phrase? Well, if you noticed that a phrase are groups of related words that lack a subject and a predicate. So we know fresh, crispy carrots is a phrase. So for that reason, the text contains neither a dependent clause nor an independent clause. And that's the yellow hexagon there. And over to the final question. Because it was not possible to find it. So once again, is it independent? Can we express a complete thought? We can't, can we? So the text only contains a dependent clause, which is the black hexagon here. And that brings us to the end of our video. I hope this video was useful, and I hope you could now differentiate between clauses and phrases working with the dependent and independent clauses. Remember, this is a skill that remains invaluable across various aspects of life, from academic endeavors to professional pursuits. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe so you can be kept up to date when a new video is released. And finally, we've got a quick game for you all. In this section, we've got numbers 1 to 23. What I would like you to do is write sentences using clauses and phrases, and that should be incorporating the numbers between 1 to 23. You have the rules at the bottom of the page. Feel free to take a screenshot. But other than that, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.